Welcome to Foglight Video Solutions. This video will cover how to add a single Windows monitored host using Infrastructure cartridge. My name is John Sakalauskas, and I am a technical product specialist for the Foglight product. The Add Monitored Host wizard allows you to add different types of hosts to the lists of components being monitored in your infrastructure environment. You can launch this wizard from several places in the Foglight browser interface. From the Infrastructure Environment dashboard by clicking Single Host in the upper right corner. From the Infrastructure Environment dashboard Monitoring tab, Resource Utilizations view. If a host is not being monitored, the Resource Utilizations view displays a warning message. You can add the selected host to the list of monitored hosts by clicking Configure Host Monitoring. And also from the Host dashboard by clicking Add Host, or for a known but unmonitored host, by clicking the icon in the Monitored column. To add a host agent, log into the Foglight console. In this example, we will change to the Expert view and use the Single Host option in the Infrastructure dashboard. In the Add Monitored Host wizard, on the Host and Agent Manager page, specify the host that you want to monitor. Type the host name or the IP address of the host you want to monitor into the Remote Host field. This value must resolve to a real host name or IP address in order to pass the credential validation test. Optionally, you can also override the host name of the previously specified host. Next, select the Agent Manager to install the new agent on. The Infrastructure Agent package must already be deployed to the FGLAM. Then finally select the OS type of the remote host that you want to monitor: Windows, a type of Unix, Linux, or Solaris. The wizard uses the specified OS type to determine what agent type to create, Windows agent or Unix agent. This box appears disabled if the wizard is invoked by selecting a host when its OS type is known. Ensure the Virtual Guest checkbox is disabled. The host name is then validated. If the host name is not resolved to a real host name, the message "Unable to locate host using the provided host name" appears in the validation result dialog box. If a host name passes the validation test, the Add Monitored Host wizard refreshes, showing the Agent Properties page. The layout of the page will be different for Windows agents and Unix agents. Please note that if you had selected the Virtual Guest checkbox in the previous step, the Collect Metrics checkboxes are disabled, preventing the agent from collecting these types of metrics. On the Agent Properties page, specify the properties of the monitoring agents. The wizard then checks whether the Agent Manager has any credentials configured for this host and displays the findings on the Credential Verification page. Matching credentials are those with a resource mapping that matches the host to be monitored. If the selected host name matches the host on which the Agent Manager is running, that is indicated on the Credential Verification page. If any matching credentials are found, they are displayed in a table format. The result of the validation is displayed in the test column. If the test fails, click the Failed link to open a dialog box that displays additional information about the issues encountered during the validation and helps you to troubleshoot the root of the problem. If the test is successful, the Success link appears in the test column. If no matching credentials are found, that is indicated on the Credential Verification page. On the Credentials Verification page, select one of the following options. Select the Do Not Configure a Credential option if you want to configure a credential for this resource at a later time. Local credentials for Windows and Unix are set up by default when the Foglight for Infrastructure is installed. Select the Add Host to a new credential if you want to add the host to a new credential. This option is suitable if none of the existing credentials have the connection details needed to access the new host. Select Add Host to an existing credential if you want to add the host to an existing credential. This option is suitable if an existing credential has the security data needed to access the new host, but you will need to edit its resource mappings to include this host. If the selected host name matches the host on which the Agent Manager is running, click Next. In this example, we will create a new credential. On the credential type page that appears, select the credential type from the available options. The options will vary depending on the agent type. Then click Next. In the Credential Properties page, the level of required information depends on the selected credential type. For example, the username and password type needs a username and password, while the challenge response type needs a username along with a question or response pair. Type the required properties and click Next. On the Credential Name and Lockbox page, provide a name to identify the credential and select a lockbox in which you want to keep the credential. A lockbox can be used to group credentials for access and/or security. In smaller Foglight installations, using the default system lockbox should be sufficient. Click Next. On the Resource Mapping page, indicate which hosts you want to associate with this credential. You can either select the host that you're about to start monitoring, all monitored hosts, or hosts whose name contains a specific text string. Then click Next. Setting a policy is optional. A policy defines the number of times a credential can be used, the number of allowed authentication failures, the time range during which the credential is valid, or the length of time the credential data can be cached on the client. For example, you can specify the number of times the credential can be used, or the time period from which it can be used. Click Next. On the summary page that appears, review the information provided about the host and the monitoring agent. To perform a connectivity check, select Check for Connectivity. For a successful installation, an agent has to be created and it must be able to connect to the host it will monitor. The connectivity check is an attempt to establish a connection to the host after the agent has been created. If the connectivity check fails, an error message will be provided. The connectivity check adds approximately 1 minute to installation. If you choose not to check connectivity, you can verify the agent status on the agent status dashboard. Click Finish. A new host is added to the host dashboard after a short delay. The monitoring agent is created. If the operation is successful, the Add Monitored Host dialog box appears. Review the information and then close the dialog box. If you performed a connectivity check and the verification failed, an error message is displayed to help you to better understand and resolve the problem. The agent instances created to monitor the new host appear on the agent status dashboard. Agents created using the Add Monitored Host wizard appear on the agent status dashboard only after clicking the refresh button. To learn more about Foglight for databases, visit support.quest.com. For quick support questions, follow us on Twitter @QuestExperts.